Welcome back to Arsenal News TV, and today we are going to look at the 4 latest Arsenal news. But before we dive deeper into the first Arsenal news, I have some exciting news to share. This episode of Arsenal News TV is kindly sponsored by Kitbag Store. Kitbag Store is offering a special discount exclusively for our viewers. You can get your hands on the new Arsenal shirt at a discounted price by using the link in the description below. Make sure to use the code SCORE15 at checkout to receive an amazing 15% off. That's not all. You can order the official Arsenal shirt for just £68 with free shipping, so don't miss out on this incredible offer. Head over to Kitbag Store using the link in the description, and remember to use the code SCORE15 for your exclusive discount. Now, let's dive right into our first Arsenal news story. The first Arsenal news is that Spanish publication Fitches has confirmed an Arsenal update, as they confirm Arsenal seem determined to add £80 million Premier League star to £208 million trio to create truly insane team, as Arsenal look to complete the signing of World Cup Ecuador international and Brighton and Hove Albion midfielder Moises Caicedo. Arsenal still want to bring Brighton midfielder Moises Caicedo to the Emirates Stadium despite their huge deal for Declan Rice, according to reports. The Gunners completing the signing of Rice from West Ham on Saturday in a deal worth £105 million after months of speculation. Rice joins Aurelien Timber, who left Ajax for the Emirates Stadium in a £38 million transfer. And Kai Havertz, a £65 million signing from Premier League rivals Chelsea. Rumours towards the start of the window claimed that Mikel Arteta and technical director Edu wanted 5 signings this summer with 2 midfielders, a right-back, a centre-back and a forward on their list. Their £208 million splurge on Rice, Timber and Havertz leaves the potential for 2 more signings before the end of the transfer market, and Spanish publication Fitches are convinced they will go back in for Brighton's Caicedo. Arsenal reportedly bid £70 million for the Ecuador international in the January transfer window, but, despite Caicedo pushing for a transfer, Brighton convinced him to sign a new deal once the transfer window shut. Chelsea and Liverpool have both been mooted as potential destinations for Caicedo, with Football Insider insisting earlier this week that the Blues are close to agreeing an £80 million deal for the 21-year-old. However, Fitches insists that Arsenal are considering making an offer for Caicedo despite their huge outlay already this summer, and the Gunners have made it clear that they are willing to make a financial effort to ensure they form a truly insane team. Arsenal seem determined to reinforce their centre of the field with the incorporation of Caicedo, but the report acknowledges it will not be an easy task because of interest from Chelsea. When asked about interest from Chelsea earlier this week, Caicedo told La Cancha con Mayo, "It's a big team, that's true, a very historic team. I can't say no because it's a very big, historic, beautiful team. And the city as well is beautiful. I am waiting for whatever God decides. He will know what is best for me." The second Arsenal news is that 90 Minute has confirmed an Arsenal update, as they confirm incredible £60 million Arsenal target no longer appears to be in his manager's plans, as Arsenal look to complete the signing of World Cup Portugal international and Manchester City defender Joao Cancelo. The latest reports suggest that Arsenal's summer transfer target Joao Cancelo does not have a future at his current club. According to 90 Minutes, Manchester City are not expecting to welcome Cancelo back into the first team. Arsenal have been heavily linked with the fullback in recent weeks. For instance, Dean Jones has told the Ranks FC Patreon that the Gunners could consider signing him at the end of the window. Kai Havertz, Aurelien Timber and Rice will not be the end of the spending, he said. "Expect a couple of signings to come later in the window. I mentioned Cancelo above. He could still be one to look towards in August." Even though he has great versatility, City were apparently hoping that they could keep Kyle Walker instead and have offered the Englishman a new deal. Despite this offer, the report goes on to suggest that it looks like Walker will be on his way to Bayern Munich and Cancelo will still have to look for a new club. The incredible fullback was one of the best defenders in the Premier League a couple of years ago, but issues at Manchester City have seen him not wanted at the club. He was loaned out to Bayern Munich last January, but the move wasn't made permanent, and now it looks like he is somewhat in limbo. With Arsenal interested and Cancelo out of the first team plans at Manchester City, now seems like the perfect time to make a move. Mikel Arteta worked with Cancelo at Manchester City, so he will know the £60 million player well. Now he has to decide whether he wants a reunion. It is a big decision for Arsenal as they have recently signed a similar player in Jurrien Timber. The Gunners do have a lot of matches, so it needs to be decided how much squad depth they need. The club need to make sure that they can rotate and still keep the same level of intensity and quality in the starting 11. This is something they struggled with last season. The third Arsenal news is that Fabrizio Romano has confirmed an Arsenal update, as he confirms it will be so tough for Arsenal or Liverpool to sign £80 million player, as Arsenal look to complete the signing of World Cup France international and Real Madrid midfielder Aurelien Tchouameni. For the second summer in a row, Aurelien Tchouameni is at the centre of a lot of speculation. The French midfielder got his move to Real Madrid from Monaco this time last year, and now, the 23-year-old is being linked with a move to England once again. Indeed, Arsenal and Liverpool have both been linked to the Real Madrid star, but according to Fabrizio Romano, speaking on his YouTube channel, this is a deal that will be very tough for either club to do. Indeed, Romano says that Real Madrid have been very clear on the fact they want to keep the player, and thus, this deal is complicated. Romano shared what he knows about the £80 million man. Then guys, on Aurelien Tchouameni, I am always receiving questions on English clubs. We had reports about Liverpool and Arsenal. At the moment Arsenal are not actively working on that type of player. Arsenal will announce Declan Rice very soon. In the midfield, the idea is to understand what is happening with Thomas Partey and then to decide for a new midfielder to join the club. At the moment Thomas Partey is not something advanced with Saudi clubs, Romano said. At the moment, no active contacts with agents of Tchouameni. Let me say that the message is very clear from Real Madrid. They want to keep the player. It will not be easy to bring Tchouameni to English football. It looks very complicated. Romano says that this deal is very complicated, but, in our view, it will be almost impossible to get this one done. Indeed, this isn't just any club we're talking about here, it's Real Madrid, and when Los Blancos decide they don't want to sell you one of their players, it's curtains. Madrid are the biggest club in the world, and while Arsenal and Liverpool can throw their weight around and bully the majority of their rivals, that doesn't apply to Madrid. It would be a huge surprise if Tchouameni were to come to England this summer. The final Arsenal news is that Ben Jacobs has confirmed an Arsenal update, as he confirms if Thomas Partey leaves, Arsenal could go for incredible youngster, as Arsenal look to complete the signing of Belgium international and Southampton midfielder Romeo Lavia. Arsenal have only just announced the signing of Declan Rice today, but there is already some thinking they might be done with midfielders. With Granit Xhaka having moved back to Germany, there was always going to be at least one midfielder signed by Mikel Arteta this summer. However, while Xhaka's move was nailed on after initial reports broke the news, Thomas Partey has since been mentioned as a player the Gunners could potentially sell as well. Of course, if Partey is sold, then Arsenal would have a void in the midfield. And according to journalist Ben Jacobs, Southampton's Romeo Lavia could well be the one the Gunners turn to if Partey leaves. Lavia is wanted by a number of clubs, including Liverpool, but Jacobs says Arsenal could join the race if Partey does indeed move on. Lauded by Pep Guardiola as being an incredible young talent, Lavia was a star of the show for Southampton despite them being relegated. The Saints are looking for £50 million for Lavia, but as Jacobs says in his tweet here, other clubs don't see the youngster as being worth that amount just yet. Arsenal have taken their spending past the £200 million mark this summer. Any deal for Lavia will be dependent on outgoings, with Partey key, one for the future. If Partey does leave and Romeo Lavia is the one who comes in to replace him, then Arsenal would be getting a real gem of a young player. The one issue would be whether or not Lavia is ready to step into things right now and be a player of sufficient quality at the top of the Premier League and in Champions League games. Either way, Lavia would be a good signing for Arsenal. It's just whether or not he can step up immediately. Do you know the Arsenal news on Declan Rice? You will enjoy this video on your screen too.